Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Trade Station Masterclass. Today is Easy Language Answered. So we are going to get John with us in just a moment. So let me go ahead and first of all, promote him to a panelist and then give him some host capabilities. Give me just a moment while I do that. We'll pass the microphone over to John in a moment. Before I do so, let's go through some of the disclosures. Keep in mind that every symbol and idea that we talk about in this presentation is for educational purposes only. It is not a recommendation of TradeStation. Also, active trading is not suitable for everyone, and past historical performance is no guarantee of future results. For additional information on these disclosures, go to www.tradestation.com/important-information. All right. So as we said earlier, this is a class where we open up the floor for questions related to Easy Language. We have our in-house expert, John Bruch. He's the director of Easy Language Services for TradeStation Technologies. If I didn't say it at the beginning, my name is Jesus. I'm the director of education and client training for TradeStation Securities. So thank you guys for taking some time out of your schedules to be here and learn a little bit about Easy Language. So it is my time to turn the microphone over to John. John, how you doing today?
Hey, how are you, Jesus? I'm fine, thanks.
I'm doing very well. Thank you for asking. I know that we don't have anything prepared like beforehand because we didn't get any questions before our class. So we don't have any prepared examples for you guys. So we are here to open up the floor for Q&A. So it is your time to ask questions either by submitting them in the chat or by, oh, what happened here? I thought I had the ability, did I make you the host? Let me see here, edit profile. I made you a host. What's going on here?
What are you trying to do? Look at the chat?
I'm trying to give people the ability to turn on their microphones. And I don't have the button anymore. When you hover over people's names, do you see a allowed to speak kind of button?
In the
participants panel, when you go to participants?
Let me check. Yeah, I do have a button.
You do, so I probably give you host permissions rather
You want
than
me to rejoin?
Okay, no. Go back to the panelists and hover over my name and see if you can make me a co-host.
Oh, okay.
There should be like a little menu.
I just did it.
Oh, there we go. Now I have access. For a moment, I gave you all access, John, and I demoted myself.
Oh, funny.
All right, guys. So the floor is open. We have a few people here from Masterclass members. Thank you guys for supporting the channel. Who has a question on Easy Language? Or any other question? You know, this is an open Q&A, and I know that John is he's an expert on everything related to the TradeStation platform. So it's great to have him.
Thank you. But yeah, and you know so much about the platform too, so that one way or another, if it's a platform question, we can probably answer.
So this is the perfect team, right, John?
Yes, it is. We've got both angles. Exactly.
Hey, John, let me ask you something. Is there anything new happening on the platform side, like that you know of that we can share with the team?
Oh boy, let me think. I mean, we've done a ton of work on stability and that sort of thing. So, but it's not really a feature type of thing that you would kind of demonstrate. It's more in the internals and that sort of thing. So stability and for example, in Easy Language, we had some things going on where the way we were handling strings, certain strings was not as fast as we wanted it to be. So we made some enhancements there, but it's hard to demonstrate that kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. Yes. And I think there's some settings on the platform that relate to some of the performance I think I saw something somewhere that we had some new checkboxes that we could, play with.
Well, I don't think, not yet.
Okay, not yet. Okay.
Right.
Ah, okay. I thought they
No,
were. Maybe I have a.
not
Maybe
that I
I'm.
know. I mean, unless you've seen something that I'm.
No, maybe I'm mistaken. Let me go back. Let me go here to preferences and see.
Take a look at. Yeah, you can.
Well, everything looks the same. Let me
Yeah,
go back
yeah.
and here, file preferences. Yeah, everything is the same. It appears to be.
Right, right. The performance and stability stuff is really kind of internal. The at least what I was talking about there was, you know, uh, not really not a user setting related to performance per se, but just how the code runs internally.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Hmm. I don't see any questions, so let's wait here a little bit more. So what's happening in the background is that TradeStation is just becoming a little bit more stable, right? That should help with many of the crashes, right?
Correct, correct.
Not,
Those are the
not,
kinds of things that
yes.
which I think we've mentioned this before, but if you get prompted to send a crash report, please do so.
Okay.
Uh,
So
so
there's this.
sometimes I think people are hesitant to send those crash reports, and but you when you send it, there's nothing uh, in there that's particularly related to um, even really not even what you were doing per se. It's really the internals of the application and what we call the call stack, which tells us which application crashed and what that led to, kind of in terms of the software. So anyway.
Okay, so that's it's yeah, it's always good to know that we're working in the performance area of TradeStation. And yeah, the feeling is that sometimes when you get a crash and you get that button that asks you if you want to send a report, that there's nobody on the other side looking at them.
Oh,
So,
no, we do. Right, right.
so there's people that actually get these reports when you click on send report. That's what's happening, right?
Yes, and if you can add, there's a comment box, there, and if you add any kind of color to what you're doing, that's great too. Like, hey, I was opening up a workspace that I hadn't used in a while, and here are the other workspaces I had some other workspaces open, and here are kind of a few of the windows that I had open, and that kind of thing. Or I clicked
Yeah.
on this or clicked on that, and that's when the crash occurred. That kind of stuff can
Mm,
help us in conjunction with the crash report. So
excellent, excellent. And they also did something about the hot list and how it was separated from what the time and sales. Is that what happened for performance reasons?
okay,
Um,
yeah. So again, this shouldn't cause anything to be different uh, from from the user's perspective, but um, we're trying to improve performance by distributing the applications more uniformly across your CPU cores.
yeah. Okay.
So that's really what, in a manner, you can think of it a little bit like charting. Like we have what we call multi-core charting,
Hmm.
and uh, uh, the multiple instances of charts run on different CPU cores, and that can help us take advantage of some of the modern hardware that has a lot
Yeah.
of. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's awesome. That's great. Prasad is asking about the App Store. I know it's been a touchy subject because sometimes we don't have enough information about what's happening. Do you have anything, John, about the trading app store and some of the apps that will probably make it to the platform?
No, I do not.
Okay.
I have not been, um, I know we've got some folks working on that sort of,
Yeah.
but I don't know the
No.
yeah,
Yeah,
details.
the
Yeah.
extent, yeah, of course. And I know that on my side, I did get an email. I'm not sure who it was from, but I did get an email from a user that was using some trading app store apps. And I did ask the people that are handling, the contracts between third-party developers and what can be included on TradeStation. I asked them about some specific studies, and I didn't get a response. I haven't gotten a response yet. So I'm gonna have to follow up to see what's happening there. My suggestion, or what I would, recommend everyone do, is contact the developer of these apps and find out from the developer what is going to happen to those studies. I think that'd be an easier and direct, approach to what will happen to the studies that I'm using, because maybe the third-party developers already have a plan in place for making these resources available to everyone. Okay, so make sure that you reach out to them, and if you don't get a response from a developer, let me know, and I will try to, get the connection for you. So Prasad says we did not get the correct email for developers. Okay, let me know who is it that you're trying to contact, and maybe there's an updated. Let me pause my notifications here. Somebody's really adamant about reaching me. Okay, yeah, Prasad, let me know who is it that you're trying to contact? What I'm not sure if you already emailed me, but what study is it, the one you're concerned about? And we'll find out exactly what's going to happen and if the developer has any plans on providing that study elsewhere. Okay, make sure to do that, and I'll investigate. Thank you for that. Jim wants to discuss easy language coding for earnings, dividends, and splits.
Oh, good. That's a good
Yeah,
subject.
good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Well, there's actually a lot of different things yeah.
Yeah. So we have some built-in stuff on the platform that does earnings, dividends, and splits. Not splits, but do we have anything that does splits?
No, we adjust we back adjust the data for the split. So
Uh-huh.
so the data automatically, for example, if there's a 2-for-1 split, then the price will be cut in half, and we'll back adjust the historical data so that it reflects the change. Basically, what you do is go back and cut the price in half and double the volume. Is basically so that the dollar volume in history remains constant. The certain number of dollars were traded against in the stock, for example, and then but we back adjust for the splits. The thing that comes up for easy language, I don't know if this will be Jim's question, but what happens with easy language is people say, well, kind of, how do I know that the split occurred, or that kind of thing, which we don't really have access to the corporate actions. And so this does come up periodically, because somebody will say, well, look, especially if you have a longer term holding, the stock might split, and then you're trying to say, well, how does that relate to the price I actually entered at, which was 3 times, because there was a 3-for-1 split, or you get into you're trying to get corporate action information, what we call corporate actions, splits, special dividends, mergers and acquisitions, that kind of stuff.
And we have no record of that, right? I mean, if a stock splits, I know that we do the adjustments on the chart, but there's no record on saying, okay, when did this stock split and what was the split for, right?
Well, we okay, we have it internally, the records.
Okay.
The data team, of course, it's in, basically, there's a database, and it contains all the corporate actions, and Anyway, a user doesn't have access to it. So
Okay.
that's been an enhancement request over the years at different times, or Easylanguage,
Yeah, because it'd be very cool to know, for example, Apple, I think, split, right?
Well, many times, I
Um,
think, yeah.
exactly. So it'd
Some
be
of these
interesting
have,
to know.
Microsoft
Yeah.
split so many times. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to know, what effect the split has had in the price. And but there's no way for us to leverage that in Easylanguage, saying, okay, it split these dates, like a show me that would plot a show me dot when the stock split. We don't have anything
That
like that,
kind of
right?
thing. Right.
Okay,
Right.
all right, all right. Yeah, maybe he was
But I
referring
don't
to
know
it
if that
too.
was Jim's question. Is Jim's
Yeah.
mic open?
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
Hey, you guys are touching on it. So
Okay.
this is what we need. So, and I think we kind of got well, I guess we're missing the split part, but for dividends and earnings, also splits, Trade Navigator, that's one of you guys is kind of like partner, because it's promoted, that Trade Navigator, because, you can trade through TradeStation on Trade Navigator, that web-based program. Well, they do something really cool that's missing in TradeStation, and we need it. So, and we got to figure out how to do it. And just let's start with earnings. It's obviously we got some EL studies that give us the earnings date, but I need it on the chart as a show me, instead of have to look in a corner, you got to see that in a chart. And this got to do with strategy trading. Let's say you got a strategy running, you have to notice what's coming and, right on the chart, because you're staring at the chart. It'd be nice if we could have, like a show me. And for example, what Trade Navigator does is they put a little circle and they put E right on the bar of the, that earnings is coming out. And so,
You mean, Jim, you mean for earnings that are upcoming, not for earnings that have.
Well,
happened.
you can also see them in the past too. So once they show it, so yes, so they show upcoming. So they won't show a bar. They'll just, like a couple bars ahead, there'll be no bar, but then they'll have an E coming up and you'll go, ooh, earnings is coming up. And then you hover over it and it tells you the exact date. And you go, ooh, earnings is coming up in 2 days. So they put it out a little bit to the right of the bar and show you, they show you like a circle E that's coming, because there's a lot of strategies you don't want to trade through earnings, because, earnings is kind of an unknown event, what's going to really happen there, right? Because it's secret until they release it. So there's many situations where you don't want to hold a position through earnings, and you need it on the chart instead of having it just in some data window, because it's going to be easier to notice. Yeah, just like what you got going on right now, showing a show me. If we could have one of them little dots showing the previous earnings or current earning coming up to the right of the chart a little, that'd be awesome. And so they do that, plus they do dividend, plus they do split. And split, the reason splits is real important, believe it or not, there's strategies around the splits, and they look very profitable, by the way, the split strategies. So, and there's just no way to analyze it on TradeStation, but in other platforms you can do it. So there's strategies around splits, because there's kind of reoccurring patterns that happen around splits with regards to good companies, companies that are really good. And it'd be nice to see them on the chart, because then we could analyze our strategy. Because if we have a strategy that trades splits, well, we would need to identify them on the chart in order to trade them. In order to back test them. It's all about back testing, and you got to know where your splits occurred. And so in TradingView, you see that too on the chart. In the history, you see all the splits. So all you do is hover over the box, and it tells you what the split was, like a 3-for-1, 4-for-1. That's just something So earnings is super important because there's many times you don't want to trade through earnings. So you need to know it. So you have to see it on your chart. And then the splits would be nice because there could be some strategies around splits. It's just something we don't have right now. I know we kind of got something for, well, we got definitely for earnings, and I think we got them for dividends too. Because that's another thing they show on the trading view chart. They also show dividends. There'll be a little circle for a dividend because sometimes that will gap a stock, because they're
Right.
paying a big dividend, and you'd want to know what caused the gap. Well, if you got a circle D, then oh, the dividend caused that gap. But it
Yeah.
needs to be show me, not just data. It has to be a chart. So anyhow, that was my spiel. That would be like something that I would try to do an easy code eventually.
Right. I was just going to, I don't want that guy. Okay, yeah, so the dividends, you guys can see this chart here. So yeah, the earnings, I put the EPS posting show me on there, and that'll show historical earnings. I've got this, I mean, the weekly bar, since it's only a quarterly data, you could put it on daily, but then everything's spread out pretty far. But anyway, okay, and then I think we also have an earnings indicator. I thought, yeah, there's several of them. Okay, so let's just look at the basic. I think, yeah, okay, so I was just looking at some of these values here. Yeah, so here's the $1.65 on the EPS posting showing the $1.65, which is the same down here. There are a variety of fundamental fields that can be used to show earnings. Earnings are a very kind of complicated thing in a way, because what's included or not included in a particular number, we often have a headline number, but that headline number includes or doesn't include certain things, extraordinary items, and all kinds of different stuff. So anyway, there are a variety in the Refinitiv database, a variety of EPS numbers. So,
John, when you say earnings, are you talking about the you're talking about the earnings release date? So that would be on the release date, when they do their earnings.
Well, okay, so yeah, that's another kind of important consideration here. So we post this. I guess I could switch to a daily chart to show this a little better. We post the earnings number. I believe we're posting it. We can go look at the code on the day that it hits our database, which can be the day after, and the reason we do that, it's a conservative assumption, because we don't want you to think that you could trade on something that's not on our database. In other words, if it didn't hit our database until, let's say they release at 4:30 in the afternoon on let's say it's on this day here, and they release at 4:30, you couldn't have traded on that day on the number. So usually that number would hit our database that evening, and then we'll post the EPS postings. Will pick it up and put the show me on the next day. That's one of the real difficulties with the earnings, is that a lot of firms will release at, say, 7:30 Eastern in the morning, right? So, but that's not going to hit our database until that evening. So Easylanguage won't have access to that number on that day. I mean, in history it would, but not in real time. because Refinitiv doesn't update but once a day, and that's in the evening. So if you're going to trade off of the earnings, you kind of have to really keep a really close eye on it. That it's an art unto itself, in my view, because of the fact that firms announce at different times of day, and you may need to react quickly to it. The next earnings date we don't have internally through Refinitiv, but we got it through Benzinga. So that's the next earnings date studies, which is shown, like for example here, October 13th, and a tentative time for the release, although these times vary a lot. But anyway, there's your next earnings date to keep an eye on it. But we don't post any dot out here. It actually,
You know something, John?
yeah.
I mean, just as a little improvement, instead of having it on the left of the chart, because it don't happen on the left, it happens on the right.
That's right.
So that would be sweet if that was put on the right, because
that
at least you're looking in the general right area.
So there's a couple inputs to this study. So that the text percentage from the right is what, so if you change this to like 10 instead of 100, then it'll move it over to over here.
Oh yeah, see that should be like, well, my opinion.
Could be the default. Yeah,
because
okay, so yeah, then
you're kind of always staring at the left.
If you copy this chart, it'll stay with that input setting. So if you wanted to, apply, you can't set it as a default input because the study comes through the App Store delivery process. But anyway, that was the.
So that part of the App Store staying, these TradeStation quote apps that's still going to be in the App Store.
Well, it'll still be pushed to the platform. So what happens here, let me go to this. If you go to add study, you'll see, let me go down to next earnings date. This guy, and it'll look some, more or less exactly the same as this, but you won't have to go subscribe to it or anything. It'll just appear in your platform. You won't have to go and manage a subscription through the App Store or any of that, because that whole interface and website and all that won't be there anymore. So this one would just push it to you.
Oh, I got you. So it'll just show up in our studies.
Correct. Just like any other.
And it'll have some kind of, it has that little symbol. And that
yeah, I think we're gonna, and again, some of these details may change, but it'll be listed here one way or another. It may or may not have the exact same icon. I'm not sure about that, but
I got you. And then these are locked studies. So like if we want to like customize or anything, we could maybe talk to you in one of these
sure.
Calls, and then maybe we can get some.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. The key to this one being that the data is coming from Benzinga, which is rather than from Reuters, which is the reason that the code has to remain hidden, because it does things with our Benzinga account, the TradeStation firm's Benzinga account. Yeah. Gotcha.
And then so getting back to this earnings, show me. So let's say that earnings was 1013. What you're saying is maybe the little dot will show up on the 1014, for example, when it shows up in history.
Correct, because exactly. Because if it was released, let's just say that this was accurate, that they released at say 4 o'clock, that's the market close. So you couldn't have acted on it on that day. At least not very easily. maybe in the post market, but again, this is where, as I say, the art of the whole earnings thing comes into play, because things tend to do happen in the post market when especially if there's a surprise.
Oh yeah, it could move a lot. So
Or in the pre-market for that matter. So you'll have a surprise at one of these, 7:30 Eastern time earnings releases, and then the pre-market will jump around.
for let's say it was released at like 8 a.m. 10:30.
Yeah.
Would the show me study still maybe show 10:14? Or
It depends on when it hits the Reuters database. So I keep saying Reuters, they're Refinitiv, they changed their name. So, but when it hits that database, we use the date that they posted in there. So, because that way we're taking a conservative assumption that you don't have access to it earlier. Although, again, if you're trading those things, you probably already know,
yeah, well that's the whole kind of idea of this show me, because I'm trying to know.
Yeah, and for back test, it's a conservative. Yeah.
Yeah, I got you. Well, hey, that helps out a little.
Okay. Okay.
It's essentially we got to be aware, especially things coming up. But when the back testing, it's nice to be aware of what's going on, especially if you don't want to trade through earnings. You want your strategy off. And then does this show me? Let's say you had 20 years of data. Would this go? What's going to be the limitation with regards to all these earnings in the show me? Does it? How far?
Yeah, we go back as far as Refinitiv has in their database. I mean, let me just take okay, so here we're going back. This is going back, almost 20 years or more here on General Electric. Of course, there we go. So it's all the way back.
No, that's perfect for 10 plus years is like good for
right.
Testing. Oh, that's good. That's good.
I mean, at some point here, if you were to go back, these numbers would need to be adjusted for inflation. Yeah.
Yeah. When you start back testing that far back, I mean, it's usually
right.
In my experience, you don't get nothing. You don't really get nothing good when you go back too far. Especially, I think some traders say, like when the markets went all electronics and they're no longer doing pit, it's like, don't even back test further past, only back test during
those are a lot of the nuances that have to be considered. I mean, just as an example of what you're mentioning there is that, for example, the S&P pit only ever reported price changes. So if you were to look at if you went and looked at and I'm talking futures now, of course, but if you went and looked at a one tick S&P 500 futures, the one tick chart never had a same price tick. It was only because you're reporting, the pit reporter didn't report same price ticks. The pit reporter was busy enough. So just reporting price changes. So anyway, it's that kind of thing that's quite different from, like, for example, if you look at E-mini S&P 500 today and all the same price ticks.
Oh, that kind of explains, I never knew why, but when you look back at some of them futures charts, you look back in history, they're all like weird looking. When it was pit trading, it's like it's missing a bunch of data. That explains it then. So interesting. So I guess the only thing we're missing, hey, I can live with earnings on that side. That's cool.
Okay.
Very nice.
I like how it's shown. Well, but we don't. How about dividend? Can we also do a show me for a dividend?
Yeah, we could. The funny thing that I often mention to people is that the EPS posting show me is not constrained to EPS. So let me just look at this guy. If we look at this this study, I was going to see, it doesn't show the fundamental field being used, but let me go to the code and we'll pick it up from there. And then we may be able to use the same fundamental field. So, okay, so it's using this guy, DDPS1. And if I go back to my EPS postings, show me, I can change this input, which changes the value, right? The code doesn't really know what that value is. In other words, it just says, okay, whatever that value is, it could be a dividend or. So now, if I look here, for example, it's showing 96 cents, and I go down here, see the 96 cents. So the EPS postings, all you need to do if you want it to show something else is change the field name. Does that make sense?
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the date that the dividend was. It's like the
Correct. It
dividend
uses
date.
all the right, because I'll show you the code. Let's go back to EPS postings. So what happens is in the EPS postings, and again, we should just call this like fundamental value postings or something.
Yeah.
Because it can be anything.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, it checks the fund date for that field. Whatever you put in that EPS, sorry, that's jumping around, but whatever you put in for the EPS field it checks the date of that guy. It doesn't check the date of the earnings per se. It checks the date of whatever that field is. And then when that date basically the day after you go past that date is when we put the posting, the show me dot.
I have a question for you, John. On those codes, is there like a quick reference to maybe the most frequently ones used? Because a lot of times, I find myself
There's a long
Yeah.
list, but
Yeah.
I don't know about. And again, this is where, as I say that, like we were talking about before, you see, I think it's in here.
Because maybe we should think about creating a short list of things that people look at the most,
Right.
Because I found myself, looking at the whole list, and there are so many variations of the same thing.
Correct.
Like
That's what I was.
Dividends can be calculated in so many different ways, and which is the one that is reported online, the one that people use the most. That's what sometimes I have difficulties finding.
Yeah. No, I agree. One of the questions we've had kind of is exactly that, like, which is preferred. What actually happens in the headline numbers is that those numbers are typically adjusted. So various things are added to or taken out of those earnings numbers. So as you say, taken out or added to what? Well, taken out or added to what the company filed with the SEC. So the company filing financial statements, not the company doesn't file and say our EPS was such and such. They file and say, here's our income statement. And from that income statement, then analysts take numbers and derive what they want to call EPS. But again, that adds or includes or doesn't include certain things. So I was looking for the list just so you can see, but maybe there's a link to the list here. Here we go. So if we look at, just the income statement fields, and we start looking at earnings numbers, we'll start seeing that there are just all kinds of different variations and adjustments that can be made.
You know, for the most part, I mean, for the retail trader, for lack of a better word, for the most part, as far as earnings go, I mean, I think the main point that at least some people look at this is they don't want to trade through earnings. They could care
Yeah.
less
Okay.
than
Yeah.
that.
It's more about the date than the number.
Yeah, it's more about the date because that's an unknown event, earnings, unless you got some insider information, which is illegal. And
No,
most
that's right.
don't
That's
have
right.
it because, you know, it would only be the big guy that might have that illegal data.
Right. Right.
So, we don't
Right. And
know.
you can't, as
So
you say,
it's-
you can't trade on it. If you know
yeah,
it, you
so it's
can't.
an unknown. So, there's why trade through an unknown event, words. So like
Right.
a lot
Right.
of professional traders, they say don't trade through earnings because it's unknown.
That's
Trade when
right. That's
you
right.
don't. So yeah, so it's just the date. So that, that makes it simpler. And then
Yeah.
the dividend, it's kind of nice knowing the dividend, like what's the ex-dividend day, because that might be the gap, cause the stock to, to gap down. You wouldn't want to put a stop like right where the stock's going to open at because it's paying a dividend, like of $1.
No,
So-
no, that's right. You may or may not need to adjust order prices. That's right. That's right.
Yeah, so the dividend would be nice to know, and then the split. God, it's too bad that database don't have splits in it. The one you're already pulling from.
Ah, right.
Then
Right.
we would have everything. We would have everything because
Right.
the
Right.
splits is
Right.
still going to be a problem for me. But
Okay. Okay.
I guess I'll put it. I'll put it in there for the wish list. I mean,
Okay.
on your
Feature
on your
request.
app
Yeah.
for the request. But yeah, that'd be awesome if you guys could figure out to show split history and any upcoming split, just like how you're showing next earnings date, next split. You could
Right.
like
Right.
below it. That would
Yeah,
be
that'd be-
awesome.
That would be cool, yes. All right. Any other questions, Jim, or anybody else in the room? All right, it seems like this is the end, John. That was a great discussion on fundamental data and tools that are on the platform that help us plot that information. Thank you so much for your time, John.
Sure. Sure.
Everyone, thank you for your support, and we'll see everyone next class. Tomorrow we have Ask the Experts at 11:30, and we have a platform session at 12:30 p.m. tomorrow. So have a great afternoon, John. Thank you so much again.
Oh, you're welcome. And thanks for the help, Jesus. Okay. Talk to you guys later. Bye.
Goodbye, everyone.